11, Houston. Buzz, you still looking for that 90-degree bracket, over?
Yeah, he is looking for it now.
Roger, we'll have a word for you in just a moment.
My monitor shows a pretty good, clear picture from this angle. Now we found the 90-degree bracket.
Roger, Neil. It's really a super picture. We've got the ACA, your ACA, the good picture of the throttle, the 90-degree bracket. We see the start, your handles, and now over to the bracket.
That's about the position we'll be putting the camera in after the initial descent down the ladder. And it'll be taking 1 frame a second for most of the EVA.
Houston copies out. That's a real good view of that camera.
Our monitor is a little bit wavy, so it's hard for us to tell when we've got a steady picture for you.
11, we have no complaints at all. We don't see that waviness on our picture. It's just really great, over.
Do the edges of the window look like straight lines to you?
That's affirmative.
Okay, they don't in our monitor, and that leads us to make some corrections to the camera, which probably aren't required sometimes.
11, we have no complaints at all. It's a magnificent picture. What was that, Buzz, you're chasing now?
That was me picking up some particles of paint that were floating through the air in front of the camera there.
Right, Neil, we got it. There's us that Neil's about to check the Velcro map there. Okay, Buzz, we see the card up now.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, this is where we log most of our data for each of the LEM maneuvers. And we have another card like this. It's the timeline book that we place down on the table in front of the data display keyboard. And it's on this timeline that we have all our procedures. We obviously have to hold these in place in 0G, so we make use of the Velcro patches on the back and on the table. So we can attach these down here. And then we just turn the pages over when we go to new sequences in our timeline of procedures.
Roger.
And we're ready to copy DOI patch.
Right, we'll have the photos work that one up for you momentarily. Houston, that was a good shot of panel 2. Now we got panel 3 in view with the temp monitor switch. The stabilization and control panel we see now with the mode control switches. Now over to the rendezvous radar. Real good. That's real good camera work.
Probably the most unusual position a cameraman's ever hit, hanging by his toes from a tunnel and taking a picture upside down.
Roger, well, you're doing a super job. We got a good view of the cross pointer there. Had a good view of the tape meter.
We're giving you a picture now of the floor of the cabin. I think you can see the one of the two portable life support systems backpacks here in the center. And on each side we have the two helmet visors. I'll remove one of them and show you a little closer view of what this looks like.
Roger.
Inside the helmet visors are the EVA gloves with the blue tips. I'll not take those out now.
Roger, but that's a great shot now that we're getting of the helmet, the EVA visor, and also the EVA gloves in the background.
Okay, you did say this was going out now, didn't you?
Stand by, I think so. You got a pretty big audience. It's live in the U.S. It's going live to Japan, Western Europe, and much of South America. Everybody reports very good color. Appreciate the great show.
Roger, understand. Thank you.
that was a good demonstration of your EVA visor assembly. Appreciate it. Al, that's a good view of Mr. Collins down there. We finally see him again.
Hello there, Earthling.
Hello there. Hi, 11 Houston. We noticed when you were scanning over panels 2 a moment ago, 1 and 2, the 2 8 balls were slightly in disagreement. Control said he'd like to ag the line there.
Yeah, one of them dags, one of them stings. The problem is we don't know whether the line eggs the pigs or pigs the eggs.
Stand by. Hi, 11. Chris said he can tell you.
We'll gauge them both.
Right.
Like all home week, Charlie, to get back in the limb again.
Right. I can imagine.
The traverse from the bottom of the limb to the aft bulkhead of the command module must be about 16, 20 feet. It's not a disorienting one at all, but it's most interesting to contemplate just pushing off from one and bounding on into the other vehicle all the way through the tunnel.
Right. Must be some experience. Is Collins going to go in and look around?
We're willing to let him go, but he hasn't come up with the price of the ticket yet.
Right. I'd advise him to keep his hands off the switches.
If I can get him to keep your hands off my disc, he'll be a fair swab.
Roger.
That's why I've been eating so much today. I haven't had anything to do. He won't let me touch it anymore.
Right. 11, Houston, if that's not the Earth, we're in trouble.
That's the Earth, and we have a very good view of it today. There are a few more cloud bands on than yesterday when we beamed down to you, but it's a beautiful sight. We have some horizontal banding in our TV monitor. Are we transmitting that to you, or do you have a clear picture?
Neil, we have a very clear picture. The only thing that we see is a little white dot in the bottom of our screen, which is our TV guys say is an apparently a burned out spot in the camera, but it should come back. Over.
Roger. We have that in our monitor also.
Houston, we do have 3 lines across our TV. I thought it was just a transmission problem, but everybody's telling me now that it probably is on the downlink. Over.
Now, those are the same 3 ones that we have.
Okay.
How far out are we now, Charlie?
Stand by, I'll give you an exact figure.
You can notice the difference between yesterday and today. This is as large an image as we can give you.
Roger, it's distinctly smaller. You're now 177,000 miles out. Over.
Anything? That's nautical miles.
That's affirmative. 11 weeks. Go ahead, over. Houston, we see still see the banding along the intertropical convergence. I guess the most predominant one is around the equator, or slightly north of the equator.
Yeah, that's the way it looks, Charlie. Same as yesterday.
All right.
Keep the Pacific Ocean nice and clear and calm on Flag Day. That's all we had. And Charlie, I'd like to say hello to all my fellow scouts and scatters at Farragut State Park in Idaho. They're having a national jamboree there this week, and Apollo 11 would like to send them best wishes.
Thank you, Apollo 11. I'm sure that if they didn't hear that, they will get the word through the news. Certainly appreciate that.
Huh?
Houston, we have you, your spacecraft pointed just off the western coast of South America, directly south of about Mexico City, Owen.
That looks like what we observed from here. and we're going to turn our TV monitor off now for a short bit while we have some other work to do. Apollo 11 signing off.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Houston, Apollo 11, are you picking up our signal? Okay.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, affirmative. We're reading you loud and clear on voice, and we have a good, clear TV picture, a little bright crater in the bottom of the picture. I guess that's the spot on the tube.
That's right, I don't.
And if you could give us poo and accept, we'll uplink a new state vector and target load to you.
Okay. Houston, Apollo 11. One of the larger craters on the back side, I noticed a small dark speck on the outer wall, and putting a monocular on it, I was able to see an area maybe a quarter of a mile in diameter. It was a really fresh-looking, dark-colored pit. That seems to be in contrast with all the other fresh little craters or holes that you can perceive on the walls of any of these craters. Around this particular one, there seems to be two or three of these, especially the one that caught my attention. It's quite remarkable.
Roger, do you have a location on that one?
No, not a precise one. I've got several pictures of it,
Oh, Roger, we copy. We're getting a beautiful picture in down here now, 11. The color's coming in quite clearly, and we can see the horizon and the relative blackness of space. And without getting into the question of grays and browns, it looks, at least on our monitor, sort of a brownish gray.
That's a good way of describing it. It appears to me as though it made a difference just sitting back in the tunnel and gazing at all windows. It makes a difference which one you're looking out of. For example, the camera right now is looking out the number 5 window, and it definitely gives a rosier or tanner tinge, especially when you look straight through it and not at an angle.
Roger.
GNC flight.
And we're about 95 or 100 degrees east, coming up on Flight C.
Still holding? Okay.
Say again, 11.
I say again, we're about 95 degrees east, coming up on Flight C.
Roger, and for your information, we show you at an altitude of about 92 miles above the surface right now.
Okay. Houston, Apollo 11. Did you observe a difference in the N2 pressures before LOI? It seems to me as though the two were not equal. And the
Stand by.
smaller B tank was, the lower
Yeah, I think that's right.
I'm flying it in SDS minimum impulse, Houston, and it's rather difficult to keep it on a constant theta. The limb wants to wander up and down. I'm not sure in response to mass cons or what, but I can get it completely stabilized in theta and let it alone, and in another couple of minutes it will have developed its own rate.
This is Houston, roger.
Houston, we'll be moving shortly from the side window to the hatch window, and we'll try and pick up some of the landmarks that we'll be looking at as we approach our descent. Over.
11, this is Houston, roger. And we're through with the uplink. Computer's yours. You can go to block, and we'll have the information on nitrogen for you shortly. Over.
Roger, copy. Okay, Houston, several minutes ago I was exactly steady on theta, and since then I have been moving toward the limb pointed straight down towards the radius vector, and that's been despite a number of down minimum pitch impulses.
Roger.
We're over Smythe C right now.
Roger.
We're about 88 degrees east, I would estimate.
We show you about south of the southwest of the crater Jansky right now.
My C doesn't look very much like a C. The area which is devoid of craters, and which is not very much, is sort of a hilly-looking area. It's not like a mare at all.
Roger, we copy that about the sea, and it looks like you're just giving us a view of the crater Nieper, the large crater on the left, and Jansky on the right.
We think you're close, but no cigar.
All right, 11, this is Houston. Would you care to comment on some of these craters as we go by?
Roger, we're approaching the approach path to ignition. This is equivalent to 13 minutes before ignition, and we're at about 80 degrees east, I guess. 83 degrees east. Would
Roger, we're showing your present position is about 76 degrees east, looking back towards the east.
You should be looking back at my see now.
Roger.
All right, Houston, what you're seeing in the middle of the screen now is the crater Schubert, and Gilbert U is in the center right now, and this comes up at about a little over 12 minutes before power descent. Instead of looking back at it, we'd be looking straight down at it at that time.
Roger. And we show you an altitude now of about 110 miles, and of course you'd be considerably lower at the initiation of power descent.
Okay, Houston, look at register 3 on the Disky theta. Theta is increasing toward my desired of 315, and I'll let the hand controller alone here, and I'll bet you it reverses itself.
Roger 11, we're watching the Disky now, and still coming in beautifully on the TV.
Okay, there's on the right side of the screen at the present time, there's a triple crater with a small crater between the first and second, and the one at the bottom of the screen is Schubert Y. Zoom in, it does have a central peak in Schubert Y, actually several of them, and you can observe those, plus the rim craters at the bottom of your screen.
Roger, we're seeing the central peak quite clearly now.
Okay, we're zooming in now on a crater called Schubert N. Schubert N, very conical inside wall, and the bottom appears to be nearly flat. Look at theta on the Disky. It's stabilized and is holding steady now.
Roger.
Looking out the window, I can see a number of small craters on the bottom of Schubert N. We're coming up on the foaming sea where I'll be doing some P-22 marking on a crater of my choice, name of Crater Camp.
Okay, we'll be watching for Camp.
And notice register 3 has reversed itself and is heading back the other way now without any pitch thruster firing.
Roger, Mike. We confirm that you've changed the direction of your pitch rate.
Generally speaking, the tendency seems to be to pull the LEM down toward the center of the moon as in a gravity gradient experiment.
Roger 11, we copy.
It may have something to do with mass times, or it may...
Roger, we've gotten...
it may have something to do with mass times, or it may just be the peculiarity of the Disky display.
Okay, we've observed the behavior of your Disky, and I think we've got the data here to work on it. let us grind around a little while on it, and we'll report back to you probably in a rev or two.
Okay, well, in the meantime, I'm going to pitch down toward 315.
Roger.
Three horizontal craters that you now have in the field of view are immediately underneath the ground track. The right hand and the largest crater that you see is Dubiago P.
Roger, we concur on the identification of that crater. And we show you coming up on landmark Alpha 1 here shortly.
Roger, Mike's having his first look at Alpha 1 at the present time. Yeah, there's a great bright crater. It's not a large one, but an extremely bright one. It looks like a very recent, and I would guess, impact crater with rays streaming out in all directions, which should make the collection of foaming sea easy to see coming up on it. Now, Crater Camp is one of the smaller ones out on the floor of the foaming sea.
Okay, we show you over the Sea of Fertility now, and ought to have Langrenus down south of track a few degrees, about 9 degrees south of track.
Yeah, the crater that's in the center of the screen now is Webb. We'd be looking straight down on it at about 6 minutes before power descent. It has a relatively flat bottom to the crater, and you can see maybe 2 or 3 craters that are in the bottom of it. On the western wall, the wall that's now nearest to the camera, or near the bottom of the screen, we can see a dimpled crater just on the outside. And then coming back toward the bottom of the screen and to the left, you can see a series of depressions. It's the type of connected craters that give us most interest to discover why they're in the particular patterns that they're in. I'll zoom the camera in and try and give you a little closer look at this.
Roger, we're observing the dimple crater now. The central peak that we can see on the orbiter photos doesn't seem to stand out very well here.
Well, they're not central peaks. They're depressions in the center.
Roger.
And you'll notice on the pitch vector activity, I put in a dozen minimum impulses and pitch down, and I'm still far from directing back 315. We're moving the camera over to the right window now to give you Langrenus with its several central peaks. And
Roger, we got Langrenus in our screen now. Okay, 11, this is Houston. We're getting a beautiful picture of Langrenus now with its rather conspicuous central peak.
Sea of Fertility doesn't look very fertile to me. I don't know who named it. Well, it may have been named by a gentleman whom this crater was named after, Langrenus. Langrenus was a cartographer to the King of Spain and made one of the early reasonably accurate maps of the moon.
Roger, that's very interesting.
I'll have to admit it sounds better for our purposes than the Sea of Crises.
Amen to that. Okay, it looks like you're coming inside now on the camera.
Well, I can't get behind to see the monitor. I'll bring the focus in, but we're going to be looking down past one of the LEM quads, and one of the antennas almost straight down at the ground track that we'll be seeing coming in. Now, I guess this is maybe 2 or 3 minutes before power descent. All right, that should put the LEM structure about in focus. I'm going to move it out to infinity and then expand the field of view. Crater Secchi is out my window now, window number 2.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. We show you coming up on the Terminator at 78:53, about 7 minutes from now. And we've also got the LOI-2 and TEI-5 pads ready for you after the TV, whenever you want to terminate over.
Roger.
And we're getting a good view of the track leading into the landing site now. Okay, it looks like we had Secchi K go by about 10 seconds ago, coming up on Apollo Ridge. And in the right-hand portion of our screen right now, we can see Messier, Alpha, and Bravo with the light-colored rays streaming off in one direction.
I don't know if you can make that, but in the Sea of Fertility, there are a number of craters that are just barely discernible. Old craters whose outlines are just barely able to be seen.
Roger, I think we can make them out. The color really enhances our ability to discern features and craters over what we see in real time on our black and white monitor.
Right. At these low sun angles, there's no trace of brown. It's now returned to a very gray appearance, and like the acreage does, it has a look of plaster of Paris to it at this sun angle, which is completely lacking at higher sun angles.
Roger.
Okay, this is very close to ignition point for power descent. Just passing Mount Maryland. That's a triangular-shaped mountain that you see in the center of the screen at the present time, with the crater Secchi Theta on top of the far northern edge of the mountain.
Roger, we're getting a good view of Mount Maryland and of Secchi Theta. Roger, we're getting a good view of Mount Maryland and of Secchi Theta.
And now we're looking at what we call Boot Hill. There's 20 seconds into the descent. The bright, sharp-rimmed crater at the very right edge of the screen, Censorinus T. Now passing the 1 minute point in power descent.
Roger, and for your information, your current altitude is 148 nautical miles above the surface.
I'm unable to determine altitude at all looking out the window. I couldn't tell whether we're down at 60 or up at 170.
I bet you could tell if you were down at 50,000 feet.
I wouldn't be surprised. We're passing some steep ridges here, the edges of old craters that were photographed by Apollo 10, and the crew of Apollo 10 was very impressed with the steepness of these ridges when they came over them at about 50,000 feet.
Roger, we can observe they're also steep even from this altitude. You've got quite a shadow being cast by the sun at these low angles.
The entire surface is getting considerably darker than the surface that we looked at previously when the sun was quite high above us. The crater in the right crater in the center of the screen now, the smaller one, is Censorinus.
Roger, and we show you a little over 1 minute from the terminator at the present time.
How's the brightness of the picture you're receiving? Think we ought to open up the f-stop some as we approach the terminator?
Yeah, the brightness is still doing quite well. You can go ahead and open it up a stop or two. The automatic light level compensation seems to be working beautifully.
That's a good picture of Boot Hill.
Roger.
3 minutes and 15 seconds into the descent.
Roger, we're seeing Boot Hill now.
The next crater coming into the bottom, that's Duke Island right there, and to the left, the crater, the largest of the crater near the center of the picture right now is Masterland W. This is a position check during descent at about 3 minutes and 39 seconds, and it's our downrange position check and cross-range position check prior to going over face up to acquire the landing radar. past this point, we would be unable to see the surface below us until getting very near the landing area.
Roger, I imagine you get a real good look at that tomorrow afternoon.
Sinuous rail is the one that was referred to in Apollo 10 as Sidewinder. Good name, too. Sidewinder Diamondback. Looks like a couple of snakes down there in the lake bed. And we're approaching the terminator now. You can see the contrast increase, and only the sunlit side of the bridges remain illuminated, while the dark sides in the shadow will become completely black.
11, this is Houston. The picture is getting a little grainy now. You might go ahead and open up the f-stop.
Landing point is just barely into darkness. That one crater, the upper part of which you see, lower part completely in darkness. A small, well-defined crater is multi, which is about a beam of the landing site.
Roger, we can just see it looks like a little less than half of its rim right now. And we can make out just barely some features on the surface, maybe from Earthshine. Are you wide open on the f-stop at this time?
Where we are. Yeah, and it looks like we're just about to get the sun coming into the lens, so we'll have to move the camera away.
Roger.
We can't see any Earthshine or any surface features at all in Earthshine now due to the fact that the lamp is very bright and is causing our pupils to contract. It's a very fantastic view to see the terminator as you look along the edge of it. I think you'll agree that some of these craters that you're seeing in the picture now are really accentuated by the lengthening of the shadows as they approach the terminator.
Yes, it's a very beautiful and rugged sight that we've got on the screen now.
I think you got some interesting data on thruster firings versus pitch angle. It looks like that limb just wants to head down toward the surface is all.
Roger, I have a comment here that says that's what the limb was built for.
I believe. And as the moon sinks slowly in the west, Apollo 11 bids good day to you. Houston, Apollo 11, over. Roger, go ahead, 11, over. You picking up our TV signal?
That's affirmative. We have it up on the IDA-4 now. The focus is a little bit out. We see the Earth in the center of the screen. Still have a little white dot in the bottom of the camera, apparently. And see some land masses in the center. At least I guess that's what it is. It's very hazy at this time on our IDA-4, over.
Let me change. I believe that's where we just came from.
is, huh? Well, I'm really looking at a bad screen here. Stand by one. Hey, you're right.
Not bad enough. Not finding the right landing spot.
Now.
It's not bad enough not finding the right landing spot. We haven't got the right planet.
I'll never live that one down.
We're making it get smaller and smaller here to make sure that it really is the one we're leaving.
Oh, that's enough, you guys.
We know there's a lot of scientists from a number of countries standing by to see the lunar samples, and we thought you'd be interested in seeing that they really are here. These two boxes are the sample return containers. They are vacuum-packed containers that were closed in a vacuum on the lunar surface, sealed, and then brought inside the LEM and put inside these fiberglass bags, zippered and resealed around the outside, and placed in these receptacles in the side of the command module. These are the two boxes, and as soon as we get onto the ship, I'm sure these boxes will immediately be transferred and delivery started to the lunar receiving laboratory. These boxes include the samples of the various types of rock, the ground mass of the soil, the sand and silt, and the particle collector for the solar wind experiment, and the core tubes that took depth samples of the lunar surface.
Roger, Neil. Thank you much for that description. We've got a pretty dark picture down here. Could you check your f-stop? We'd like to have it, see if you could open it up a little bit, over.
Okay, our monitor showed that to be very bright.
Right.
We're down around around F4, which we thought would be plenty light. We'll lighten it up some more.
Well, we'd appreciate it. It's pretty dark on all our monitors here.
Okay, fine.
That's looking a lot better now, Neil. There's Buzz. Houston, we have an excellent picture now, over.
Yeah, how do you read me, Charlie?
5 by now, Buzz, over.
Okay. More mundane affairs. Now that we've left the moon, I'd like to trace through a little bit for you. Developments that have taken place in the food department. I'm sure you've always type of a drink container. A little later, Mike will show you how the water gun operates with its new filter to take out hydrogen. Essentially, this water gun is put in this end and filled up this bag with water, and the drink then dissolves in the water, and this end of the mouth feeding. Likewise, we have other foods that are more solid nature. You can probably see this shrimp cocktail meal. This afternoon, while the two of us had salmon salad. Another early development was the use of bite-sized food.
11, Houston, Buzz, you're breaking up badly. Would you check your box, over?
All right, how am I coming through now, Charlie?
All right, you're very clear when you come through. It's just that your box is not keying at every word, over.
Okay. These bite-sized objects were designed to remove the problem of having so many crumbs floating around in the cabin. So they designed a particular size that would be able to go into the mouth all at once. I think since all of our experience, we've discovered that we can progress a good bit further than that, back to some of the type meals that we have on Earth. As a matter of fact, on this flight, we've carried along pieces of bread, and along with the bread, we have a ham spread. And I'll show you, I hope, how easy it is to spread some ham. Environment of 0G. We've discovered that it is quite easy to all very familiar with.
Apollo 11, Houston, we noticed your roll rate increasing. Would you please see if you can bring that down to about 0 for us, so we'll be losing a high game shortly, over.
We can also use zero gravity to demonstrate many things that we've all learned in school. I'd like to demonstrate briefly how easy it is to explain the action of a gyroscope. If I spin this pan, we know that according to the equations of motion, that we would expect that if once this is given a spin, and has a spin axis in this direction, if we give it a particular torque, and I'll do this by pushing my hands against it in this fashion once it's spinning, by the equations we can predict that as I put this torque on it, it will in fact rotate this direction. Let's see how well this works out. As I applied the torque this way, it rotated this way. Too close, I think.
11, Houston, it's a pretty good demonstration.
Houston, this next is a little demonstration for the kids at home, all kids everywhere for that matter. I was going to show you how you drink water out of a spoon, but I'm afraid I filled the spoon too full, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to spill water right over the sides. Can you see the water slopping around in the top of the spoon, kids?
That's affirmative, 11.
Okay, well, as I say, I was going to show you, but I'm afraid I filled it too full, and it's going to spill over the side. I tell you what, I just turn this one over and get rid of the water and start all over again. Okay?
Okay.
And you can see up here we don't know where over is. One up is as good as another. That really is water, though, I'll show you. That's really not the way we drink. We really have a water gun, which I'll show you. There's the water gun. This cylindrical thing on the end of it is a filter with several membranes. One allows water to pass, but not any gas. The other allows gas to pass, but not any water. So by routing the gaseous water, which comes from our tank, through this filter, we're enabled to drink purified water without the gas in it, filtered water. And, of course, all we do to get it started is just pull the trigger. Sort of messy. I haven't been at this very long. It's sort of the same system that the Spaniards used to drink out of wine skins at bullfights. Only I think this is even more fun. Well, be seeing you, kids.
Thank you from all the kids in the world here in the Moker who can't tell the Earth from the Moon.
All right, just stand by one and we'll get you that earthquake. Okay,
K11, Houston, I have a picture now. Houston? That's affirmative. I refuse to bite on this one, though. You tell us.
okay, this should be getting larger, and if it is, it's the place we're coming home to.
Roger.
No matter where you travel, it's always nice to get home.
We concur, 11. We'll be happy to have you back.
It's Apollo 11, signing off. This is the commander of Apollo 11. 100 years ago, Jules Verne wrote a book about a voyage to the moon. His spaceship, Columbia, took off from Florida and landed in the Pacific Ocean after completing a trip to the moon. It's appropriate to us to share with you some of the reflections of the crew as the modern-day Columbia completes its rendezvous with the planet Earth in the same Pacific Ocean tomorrow. First, Mike Collins. Roger, this trip of ours to the moon may have looked to you simple or easy. I'd like to assure you that that has not been the case. The Saturn V rocket, which put us into orbit, is an incredibly complicated piece of machinery, every piece of which works flawlessly. This computer up above my head has a 38,000-word vocabulary, each word of which has been very carefully chosen to be of the utmost value to us, the crew. The switch, which I have in my hand now, has over 300 counterparts in the command module alone, with one single switch design. In addition to that, there are a myriad of circuit breakers, levers, rods, and other associated controls. The SPS engine, our large rocket engine, on the aft end of our service module, must have performed flawlessly or we would have been stranded in lunar orbit. The parachutes up above my head must work perfectly tomorrow or we will plummet into the ocean. We have always had confidence that all this equipment will work and work properly, and we continue to have confidence that it will do so for the remainder of the flight. All this is possible only through the blood, sweat, and tears of a number of people, the American workmen who put these pieces of machinery together at the factory. Second, the painstaking work done by the various test teams during the assembly and the retest after assembly. And finally, the people at the Manned Spacecraft Center, both in management, in mission planning, in flight control, and last but not least, in crew training. This operation is somewhat like the periscope of a submarine. All you see is the three of us, but beneath the surface are thousands and thousands of others. And to all those, I would like to say thank you very much.
11, this is Houston. We're getting a good picture of Buzz now, but no voice modulation. And would you open up the f-stop on the TV camera? Try 822, please. That appears to be a lot better now. We're still not receiving Buzz's audio.
Good evening. I'd like to discuss with you a few of the more symbolic aspects of the flight of our mission Apollo 11. As we've been discussing the events that have taken place in the past 2 or 3 days here on board our spacecraft, we've come to the conclusion that this has been far more than 3 men on a voyage to the moon. More still than the efforts of a government and industry team. More even than the efforts of one nation. We feel that this stands as a symbol of the insatiable curiosity of all mankind to explore the unknown. Neil's statement the other day upon first setting foot on the surface of the moon, "This is a small step for a man, but a great leap for mankind," I believe, sums up these feelings very nicely. We accepted the challenge of going to the moon. The acceptance of this challenge was inevitable. The relative ease with which we carried out our mission, I believe, is a tribute to the timeliness of that acceptance. Today, I feel we're fully capable of accepting expanded roles in the exploration of space. In retrospect, we have all been particularly pleased with the call signs that we very laboriously chose for our spacecraft, Columbia and Eagle. We've been particularly pleased with the emblem of our flight, depicting the U.S. Eagle, bringing the universal symbol of peace from the Earth, from the planet Earth, to the moon, that symbol being the olive branch. It was our overall crew choice to deposit a replica of this symbol on the moon. Personally, in reflecting the events of the past several days, a verse from the Psalms comes to mind to me. When I consider the heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? The responsibility for this flight lies first with history, and with the giants of science who have preceded this effort. Next to the American people, who have, through their will, indicated their desire. Next to 4 administrations and their Congresses for implementing that will. And then to the agency and industry teams that built our spacecraft. The Saturn, the Columbia, the Eagle, and the little EMU, the spacesuit and backpack that was our small spacecraft out on the lunar surface. We'd like to give a special thanks to all those Americans who built those spacecraft, who did the construction, the design, the test, and put their heart and all their abilities into those craft. To those people, tonight we give a special thank you. And to all the other people that are listening and watching tonight, God bless you. Good night from Apollo 11.
11, this is Houston. We're getting a zoom view out the window now.
Apollo 11, signing off.